What's up? It's Travis Thompson. I'm hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
Hanging out with a new cat in the game, dude.
Yeah, man.
Travis,
yeah, man.
how are you, man?
Good, man. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Dude,
man.
I was excited when they first hit me up and they're like, "Hey, we just signed this new kid.
Yeah.
Check this out." I was like,
Hell yeah.
"Whoa, those flows."
Hey, thank you, man. I'm trying, bro. I'm trying for real.
Man,
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about your flows. Like that's what initially got to me. Like I love the way that you deliver. Your delivery is just like excellent. Tell me about that. Like how did you come about that?
Really, it's just from like studying my favorite rappers. You know what I'm saying? Just from studying my favorite music, I learned that like every 4 to 8 bars, the flow switch up perks your ear up. You know what I'm saying? So if I can switch the flow up throughout the whole thing, it might make the live show harder because I'm a big boy and I gotta, you feel me? But like, yeah, and I try to do my best to make sure the flows are switched up and it sounds crazy.
Yeah. I dig that. I dig that. Now, one thing that with artists like rappers specifically, like they have influences from other rappers, and you kind of feel that or you kind of hear that in their music. I can't do that with you. I don't know.
Real?
I don't know where your influences come from. I feel like you got your own kind of style. In saying that, like, what are your influences?
I mean, I grew up listening to like Lil Wayne, Eminem, Kid Cudi, Kanye West, and then you can have like newer stuff like Chance and Mac Miller. Like those dudes are like the foundation for like why I make the music I make today. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Sick, man. And right here, we're here, Epic Records, dude. Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
New signee to Epic Records. Tell me a little bit about this partnership that you got with them. You still got your label going on aside with them.
Yeah, no, it's really a partnership between Ambom and Epic. Like we're floating around at other labels and stuff. Other labels were like, hey, we want to come vibe out with Travis, and I'm like, I'm not trying to vibe out with you. Like Epic understands us and they're giving us everything we want, you know what I mean? So like, yeah, it feels like home. We've been here hella this past like few months. Yeah.
So what has it been like as you've been out here? You've been recording, you've been in the studio, like meeting new producers. Like what has it been like?
Really, when I come to LA, it's just for like press stuff or meetings because we try to keep the whole thing in-house, you know what I mean? All my producers, my team, my director, like everybody is up in Seattle, so I like to stay up there, kick it, and then when they need me, I'll hop on the 2-hour flight to come down. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So speaking of Seattle, I didn't realize like you actually wrote Corner Store.
Yeah.
The initial
I just
what
wrote
was
the
it, the
first
verse for
I
it,
wrote
right?
the first verse. So like the song hadn't been built out yet, but I was the first thing that got laid down.
But you're the reason why the song kind of exists. Like you kind of started that.
they hit me up for the song, and I had to pull up as soon as they hit me. Yeah.
So as far as you writing for other artists or rappers, like do you do that a lot, or is that just one of those like off days that you just happen to do that?
Oh yeah, no, I don't really write for people. We've been hit up for like different like sessions, but I don't know. Everything I write kind of feels specific to me, and I don't know. If I'm making a hit, I want it. You know what I mean? Yeah, facts.
Exactly. So as you kind of got to work with Macklemore, did you get to work with him in the studio when you guys created that?
Yeah.
And what did you catch from him? What did he teach you like as you guys were producing?
So. Yeah, one day me and my manager were just like smoking a blunt on the beach, and then they call me and they say, how quickly can you lay a verse over this beat? And I'm just talking shit. I was just like, I can have a verse for that in 30 minutes. And they're like, oh, come through now. So you know what I mean? So I pulled up, made the song happen. But in general, like I learned a lot from them in terms of like building a team and then finding a role for everybody on your team. And like even though we're partnered with Epic, it's still kind of an independent like movement, you know what I mean? Like it's a partnership really. So like, and that's kind of the same wave they're on. So you learn a lot. You soak a lot of game about independence, doing it yourself with the team, like things like that.
And tell me a little more about being independent in a sense, because you do have your whole team like basically behind the camera right now, and it's like how are you able to focus on your music but at the same time still be able to focus on every little part that goes around your music?
Man, it's really just having a good team that holds me accountable. You know what I'm saying? I wake up every day, and my mind is all over the place. I have a million things to think about, but my manager is texting me, we got to do this today. My girlfriend's a part of the team. She produces all the music videos. Like, yes, what I'm saying. Like, she holds me accountable. My director's like, we need this today, this today, this today. You know what I mean? So every day I wake up, I've got a text full of like, okay, here's my itinerary. Here's the agenda of what needs to get done. Yeah, it's just, you know what I'm saying? We're a machine, man, for real. Yeah.
That's insane, because it's, some people just struggle trying to create music in the studio, and then you got all of this around you that you're trying to be part of.
They do their best to make sure all I got to worry about is music. Yeah.
So as far as music goes, I was on my way here, I was listening to this upcoming EP. Runaways is the title for it, or is that the working title?
Runaways, February 22nd.
Woo! It's coming real soon. It's coming real soon. 6 tracks, 7 tracks on there.
6 tracks,
take me into the studio creating this EP. Like, what was that experience like for you, and how do you feel the evolution has been from your previous work?
So 3 of the songs that are on it are like 3 of my biggest songs so far,
Yeah.
and then it's 3 new songs. So they're like a year and a half apart. So from like the new ones and the older ones, but at the same time they have the same essence. They have the vibe. Like I called it Runaways because it felt like to chase this whole thing. I ran away from home. You know what I'm saying? Like I stayed like 10 minutes from the crib, but my mom was like, "Oh, it's like you ran away from home because I never see you." You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what it felt like to make it. You know what I'm saying? Like we're just at it every single day and just like in the studio making it, and it kind of the music itself kind of sums up the path, like the journey to get here. You know what I mean? Like we had to run away. You know what I mean? I think it's a good blend of what we did early on and the newer stuff, cohesive. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And as far as like the older stuff that it was your biggest hit so far, like what do you think it is about those 3 tracks that they blew up the way that they did?
I think I think there's vulnerability in everything we do. I think it's catchy. And I think like the music is bouncy and it's relatable. You know what I mean? Like everything we do, someone can find themselves in. You know what I mean? No matter who you are.
Right.
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit more about vulnerability, because I feel like that's something that's like really difficult to kind of release out in the rap world. So as far as vulnerability, when you hit the studio, when you're writing a new track, like how do you kind of open up to your audience?
Really, what it is, like I'll write the hooks and like I'll make the beats with the producers at the studio, but then I like to go home with the verses, so I'm just like by myself, tucked away. And when you're tucked away just alone, you can just say everything you need to say, and then you just kind of just get to pick what I'm going to give to the world. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Now towards the end of You Good, there was like these like voice messages I want to say like on there, and part of it was like it seemed like you were like trying to give up on the game. Like, is that did I interpret it wrong, or?
It definitely was. I was never trying to give up, but there's definitely moments when like when you're a kid, you don't take it very seriously. I mean, take it seriously, but at the same time, like everything's just fun. You know what I'm saying? We were just making songs. Like we never like I thought I'd get here and I knew I'd get here, but you never really think it's gonna happen. You know what I mean? So like it like just expectations and everything that comes along with like things actually starting to work out is kind of what made that album. And it was never on some like I'm gonna give up, but it's on some like, oh, this wasn't what I expected. You know what I mean?
Now as far as like not necessarily giving up, but getting exhausted, wanting to break, wanting to step back for a little bit, like have you kind of experienced that, because you're young and so much is happening all of a sudden? Like have you experienced that, and how do you like deal with it?
Man, I don't know. Sometimes it gets hella tiring and exhausting, but at the same time, like I was changing diapers at a preschool like 2 years ago. You feel me? Like you know what I'm saying? The worst day as a rapper is better than like my best day not doing this for a living. You know what I'm saying? Crazy. Like it's a blessing.
That is one interesting job. I kind of need to hear a little more about that.
Yeah, man. No, I was a paraeducator at a preschool, right? And then I got fired, and then I was like, all right, I got 3 months left to pay. I got to make this happen, or else like I can't be a rapper. And then somehow we got here. Yeah.
That's interesting. So let's go back to this upcoming EP, Runaways EP. Like, what kind of challenged you in the studio when you were creating this EP?
Well, really, I was like, I got to catch the same vibe that we had making these 3 other songs. I was like, I got to get in that headspace. So what I did, really, I was like, I'm just going to kick it with the homies. I'm going to do exactly what I was doing when I made these songs. So, like, you know what I'm saying? I just, like, linked up with the homies and just, like, did all the old shit we used to do as kids just for, like, a week. And, yeah, the music just kind of happened.
That just kind of inspired the whole thing?
Yeah, completely.
As far as the producer goes, did you have anyone in particular? Did you have various people, like, jump in and help you out?
It's to keep it cohesive, the same producers from those other 3 songs. So Nima Schemes and Elon Wright. Those are the dudes when my manager Sheldon first took me to a real studio, like those are the dudes who were recording me. So like it's just been like the same guys from Jump who just recorded this new EP.
So what kind of like led to this like chemistry between the 2 of you? Was it like the way that they work? Was it just the way you just kind of vibe with them when they're in the room? Like what was it?
It's the way that they work. Nima and Elon are just super fast. They're the homies. They're laid back. I don't take myself very seriously. You know what I'm saying? So I enjoy company that also doesn't take themselves very seriously. You know. So like they're just laid back dudes. You know what I'm saying? They make the kind of music I listen to and want to make, and they're crazy on the keys. Yeah.
Speaking of keys, there's a couple like instrumentation like keyboard and I want to say there was like a trumpet or some kind of like jazz and stuff in there. What kind of inspires that?
Man, I grew up in a church, so like any musicality that like we can bring in, like live instrumentation we can bring in, I'm a big fan of. So like, but also like I grew up on like I was saying, like Kanye is a big proponent of like of having string sections and having trumpets and having different like live instrumentation. I don't know. I've always been a fan of that. It just, I don't know. It brings a feeling out of you. It makes you feel good when you hear like a trumpet section. You know what I mean?
I'm a sucker for that already,
That's
but
what I'm
I'm an
saying.
even bigger sucker when it's like hip hop and like that, like
You know what I'm
because
saying?
not a lot of people do that.
Yeah. No, I'm a big. That's kind of music I listen to. So that's what I want to make.
So how'd you make those kind of go together?
Man, really, it's just having trust in the musicians that come through. Like I asked Nima or Elon, I'd be like, all right, I need this kind of singer. All right, I need this kind of thing. And they're like, oh, I know somebody who can do that. And then they come through, hang out, we smoke and drink. They lay down what they got to lay down. Usually any live instrumentation, we just kind of like let the homie come through and just like play. And then we pick what we think is dope and then layer that. Yeah.
Dude, it feels like there's no stress whatsoever, like being in your team. Like,
I mean, it's big, it's big stressful, but at the same time, like we work hard. Everyone works like fast, productively, and we're on some. It's the West Coast, you know what I'm saying? So we're laid back, we're kicking it, you know, at the same time. Yeah.
So you did mention you kind of grew up in the church. So is it safe to say that you can also sing?
I mean, if you listen to the music, I think it's safe to say I can also sing. You feel me? But yeah, no, I was definitely in the choir till I was like 12, and then I was like, Mom, I'm trying to skate. Da, 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 da. But yeah, no, I can sing a little bit.
So how did you go from like singing to like actually wanting to rap? Like what was the initial like, I don't want to sing, I want to rap?
What's funny is like I stopped singing completely when I was like done with that choir stuff when I was a kid. But then I did spoken word poetry. So I was doing like poetry slams and open mics in like all through high school when I was in Seattle. But I always wanted to rap. I was writing over Wayne beats when I was a kid too, you know what I mean? So like I'd always wanted to rap, but I didn't think I was cool enough. But eventually when I was like 17 years old, I got my sister's MacBook. I would bring it to school every day on lunch. I would just write raps and then I'd go home and record them. And like, yeah, just hearing myself recorded, it was like the switch flipped, you know what I mean? I was like, oh, I can do this, or I want to do this. I need to do this, you feel me?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't have my shit together when I was when I was in high school. I was still trying to figure out like.
I get it. Yeah, I mean, as a kid of the internet, I've always known that like you could make anything is possible. You feel me? Like I grew up with like YouTube, so I watch kids like me make their dreams happen. So I was like, oh, if they can do it, I can do it. You feel me? Yeah.
So just last night, and it's funny because I haven't done this in a long time. I just had the urge to go to a skate shop. I grew up skateboarding.
Oh, for real?
So it's cool that you kind of mentioned that. Yeah. And you know, just looking at like old brands that I used to like kind of rep when I would skate. Do you still skate? And you know what was it about skateboarding that really drew your attention?
Man, I still skate a little bit. Like I'm a bigger boy, so you know what I'm saying? So I'm more washed now. But like, no, I still skate like at least like 2 or 3 times a month. And like what drew me to skating, I guess, is I grew up in playing sports and I didn't like having coaches. I didn't like people telling me what to do.
We're on the same page.
You feel me?
We're on the same page.
So like,
damn.
I got to the skate park and it was just like kids who like they were cool ass kids wearing cool clothes doing bad shit that I wanted to do, you know what I'm saying? And it was just the freedom, like, and you see the world differently. Even just like coming to the office, we're like, oh, look at that spot, look at that spot, look at that spot. So like, I don't know, it's the freedom, it's the drive to like do new things, you know what I mean? It's the same reason I like music.
Have you ever like created a track and then just gone to the skate park or gone out for a session just to listen to your track?
Yeah, no, whenever we're like finishing a project or mixing or mastering, that's where I go to listen to mixes and masters. Like I skate and then I'll like make notes in my phone like, oh, this needs to be changed, this snare needs to be lower, this while I'm skating. Yeah.
While you're like kickflipping a 5-stair or something like that.
I mean, I haven't kickflipped a 5 in a second. I might fuck myself up. But like, yeah, no, when I'm skating around the park, like, yeah, for sure.
Hell yeah, dude. So this EP Runaways drops February 26th?
February 22nd.
22nd, even better. See, I didn't want you guys to wait. So this drops and then you're going on tour.
Yep,
what can fans expect on this tour, and what's this tour going to be all about?
Man, I'm opening for Bryce Vine, so we're doing. We start. I think it starts on the 23rd or the 24th in Omaha, Nebraska, and it's just like, I don't know. They can expect the new EP. They can expect our classic songs. They can expect a fun set. You know what I'm saying? I haven't opened a tour in a while, so like it's my. It'll be fun to be back on the road, just like trying to win over people, meeting new fans, because like the last tour we did was my headlining tour, so everyone pretty much came out to see us. So it'll be like a fun challenge to like go out and like get fans again. You know what I'm saying? I'm excited.
Hell yeah, dude. So for those that are not familiar with you, why did you, Travis Thompson, decide to start doing music? What is it about music that keeps you going and going?
Man, like I was saying about skateboarding, it's the freedom. It's the I say what I need to say. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's conversations I can have when I'm writing that I can't necessarily bring up like with people I'm close to. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you don't want to feel like a burden on anybody, or you don't want to feel like you're inconveniencing anybody's time with your problems or with your thoughts or your mind. So you know what I'm saying. But like I can kick it by myself. I can get it out on paper, and I'm like, oh, people are gonna relate to this. I'm not alone. All that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude. Well, again, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for bringing Seattle with you today. It is pouring outside.
I know.
And, you know, you got stuck on Valentine's Day with me, man.
Know,
I'm so sorry,
it
dude.
Is what it is. No,
Shit.
This is what it is.
All right, guys. Travis Thompson here. New EP Runaways drops February 22nd. Thanks for watching here on Front Row Live.